Guys, it's me again, Sam, here to tell you about another fantastic program called the Day Camp Program, which I know that we've talked about in a lot of different things and all your interviews and all that, but I'm going to go into a little more depth about what that looks like. So what is Day Camp? Day Camp is another one of our outreach ministries where we're kind of leaving our bubble of camp and kind of bringing camp and that ministry outside of our walls, out into different communities all across the Rocky Mountain Synod. So it's our Vacation Bible School style ministry. If you've ever experienced that before as a kid or as a volunteer in your own churches or communities, like something like that. So you guys will be in a team of 4. All of you will have the opportunity to go and be a part of this program. We send teams of 4, one travel director who kind of leads the trip, and then the other 3 counselors or other staff. It could be anybody really that we send out into these different churches and different communities all across the Rocky Mountain Synod. If you haven't had a chance or to look at what the Rocky Mountain Synod looks like, I super encourage you to Google it. The Rocky Mountain Synod is giant, and we only share it with one other ELCA Lutheran camp. So both of our camps are really busy with day camps. And so we get to be involved in a lot of different communities over the summer, a lot of different day camps. So it's a really cool opportunity, but it's all over the place. We have day camps, a lot of day camps in Denver this year, a lot of day camps. There's a couple up in Salt Lake City. There's a couple down in El Paso, Texas. There's some that are all Spanish speaking. There's some that are going to be like a family camp, kind of like a family camp, day camp kind of thing this year, which I'll go into a little bit more kind of at the end. There's a lot of new exciting things happening with day camp ministry, which is super exciting. But you all get to be a part of it. We're with our day camp ministry. We're working with different churches in order to make them happen, essentially. So we're partnering with those churches to kind of bring camp to their community, to their kiddos. So a typical day, for the most part, every church is completely different. There are some that are super hyper organized and have been organizing this since 2 years ago. And there are some that have never done this before and are hoping that you can help them out. So there's all kinds of different things happening. There's all kinds of different needs. So it's really a mixed bag with what church you end up at. And even if you end up doing a lot of day camps, they're all so different. Any returner staff can tell you that as well, if you want to know more about that. But a typical day is usually built up around some different blocks that the kids do. So there's usually some kind of arts and crafts block that I will be writing in the next couple weeks. Yay! That I'll be sending out to them, which you guys will all have a chance to get through in our staff training. So someone will be leading like arts and crafts. There's always a Bible study portion that Nellie, Dave's wife Nellie, who I don't know if we've met yet, but we will soon if we have not. She's absolutely amazing. She writes our day camp Bible study for the summer, which takes our summer one that we're all going through in the staff training, and she kind of breaks it down and makes it more digestible for younger kids. The day camp program tends to work with preschool age to like 5th or 6th grade, so it's a lot younger than we usually work with up at camp on our on-site program. And so we have that aspect. We have the games and rec aspect, which could be, anything from name games to races to all kinds of water day, where it's just chaos. It's just glorious chaos. And then there's a worship aspect. There's the skits aspect, all of that kind of stuff. So a lot of day camps do that differently. But for the most part, what a lot of them do is they'll have different blocks that they're in a rotation going. So maybe one of your team is running arts and crafts for the day. Maybe one of you is leading the Bible study. Maybe one of you is running the games and rec side. So you all start the day with a worship all together, and then the group breaks into three pieces, and then you're rotating throughout the day. Or some day camps are small enough that they do it all together as well, and you're kind of all bouncing around and all leading different aspects of that. There's some aspects some day camps where you guys will come in with your team and your team will be leading everything. There's some day camps where you'll just be helping out a coordinator or a volunteer in the church that is just so excited about arts and crafts that you would never take that away from her. So there's a supporting aspect, but there's also a leading aspect. It all depends on what church you end up at and what community you're a part of for the week. So typically, a lot of these day camps run for the first half of the day. And so they'd start about 8 or 9 in the morning and then run until noon or 1 in the afternoon. That is not always the case. So don't assume that. It can be really nice because if you do have a day camp that just runs in the morning, then in the afternoon you have time to sleep or do laundry or go to a national park or just kind of explore the town with your team. But there are a lot of things that are happening with Vacation Bible Schools right now where there's a lot of churches that are trying to bring an intergenerational piece into that. So they're finding that there's a couple of churches, at least, and I think this is going to be more and more common, that they want the parents to be involved. They want it to be a family thing. And so because of that, they can't do it in the day because that's when the parents are working. And so there's a few more day camps every year that are moving towards an evening day camp or doing something in the morning, and then there's a break in the afternoon, and then there's like an evening worship or some kind of activity with the whole family in the evening, which is super cool and a really cool, creative way that these churches are trying to get as many people involved in this ministry as possible. So you get to be a part of that. So typically it's the first half of the day, but it can be only evenings. It can be a morning and an evening. You just never know what you're going to get because we're really these churches are trying to design this program to fit their community the best and make sure the most amount of people can come and be a part of this. And so we're just trying to support that and be a part of that and go with it, go with the flow and that kind of a thing. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about what day camp is. So why do we do it? There's a bunch of different reasons why I would say that we do it, and I'm sure that you will find out as your summer goes on. However, I'm going to narrow it down to 3 because I don't want this video to be hours long, and you don't either. So, one of the first reasons I would say we do day camp ministry is it's bringing camp to kids. So even if you have not been on our site during the summer, and you haven't seen exactly what that looks like yet, I'm sure you can imagine kind of the environment that camp is, all the energy, all the creativity, all the faith side of things, all the opportunities for that growth and that acceptance and that love and all the incredible things that camp is. We get to bring that outside of our walls. We get to bring that into different communities and kind of all that energy and everything and all that fun and bring it to them in their hometowns, which is super, super cool. A lot of really cool things happen with that. The second reason, there's a lot of the kids we work with in the day camp program are super little. That preschool to 5th grade, 6th grade, a lot of them, other than our intro program, a lot of kids are too little to come to camp. And so we bring it to them. And a lot of times that we see those little day campers as counselors later on. I'm exactly a product of that at my hometown church in Montana. And so a lot of these things are kind of getting kids into camp and giving them that summer ministry side of things in their own churches, their own comfort zone, really, which is really, really cool. Also, some of these churches are really far away. El Paso, Texas is so far away. And sometimes we have churches that come from everywhere that come out to camp, but sometimes travel is it's just too far, which is a big reason why we started the Rainbow Trail South program, which is an incredible ministry, which I'm sure we'll talk about soon as well. And the third one I would say is we're partnering with these churches in their own communities, but the partnership goes so much deeper than that. So a really cool thing is that we get to do is we get to facilitate these relationships. So with these kids and the people that work in their church, we're not going in to just run the whole thing and their church isn't involved at all. And on the other side of that, we're not going in to just be hired help. This is a partnership where we're all working together to make the best day camp, the best week that we can for this camp, or for this day camp and for this community as well. But what happens with that is that a lot of these kids develop these relationships with leaders in their church that they wouldn't have necessarily had before. Like, say a little kid has only ever seen their head pastor at the front of the church, has never had a conversation, has no idea who they are. But these day camps on a water day, sometimes these pastors, have the most energy, and so all of a sudden they're seeing their pastor having a water fight with them and want to have these intentional conversations with them. And it just kind of facilitates this family, this really intentional relationship environment that church is really supposed to be. And so that's kind of something that we get to facilitate, but we get to watch and we get to be a part of. And it's just an incredible ministry, an incredible thing. So we have about 35, 36 day camps this year. I don't remember exactly how many. But there are some really cool, exciting things happening this year that I want to tell you guys about because I'm pretty pumped for them. One I have kind of already talked about, but there's some churches that have started doing the family camp, day camp ministries, which they'd be more in the evening. But I mean, it's kind of this new thing of what does that look like. So a lot of churches are really trying to get the intergenerational side of faith into their day camp ministry, which is super exciting, super cool, and you guys will be a part of that for sure. Another thing that happens pretty regularly, that's happening more and more as well, is a lot of interfaith day camps. So a Lutheran church will bring us in to run the day camp and do our Bible studies and all of that, but it's a bunch of different churches that come together, and so they're all kinds of kids that are all being together that haven't been together before necessarily, even though a lot of the times all the churches are like on the same street. There could be 3 or 4 churches all on the same street, but their kids never interact with each other. And so they all do a day camp together. And so all of the kids are together and all the families are together. And it's just a really, really cool thing as well. Some other fun things that day camps do sometimes is sometimes they'll do field trips. So you might all go to the zoo in the afternoon together or go to a water park. Sometimes there's an educational side of it. So sometimes coordinators will get some kind of expert to come in and bring in like animals, like hawks and stuff into the church, which is pretty freaking cool. Or talk about like sustainability or stuff like that. There's some really cool stuff that happens at some churches in El Paso that do a lot of like border issue stuff with their kids. And with you guys as well, which is really cool, a super cool opportunity. There's a whole wide array of day camps. It's a vast, vast spectrum, but it's a super cool program, and it's a really cool opportunity for us to experience that, and for us to be able to bring camp into those communities as well and work with those little kids. Well, thanks for bearing with me, guys. It's a lot of information, and we'll give you even more when you get here. But I hope that's a good little insight into the day camp program and all the great things about it. I'm very excited to see you all. I love you all, and I'll see you here very, very shortly. Bye, nerds.